Alright, hi. I'm a little late with my video this week. It's Monday, 1 o'clock here on the East Coast. I'm totally caught up on the grading. Thank you for those who noted I made a mistake on one of your grades, so thanks for letting me know. I've changed it. And then just to re-emphasize that the materials we're learning here in week 4, 5, and 6 are really foundational for the rest of the course. And so if you're getting lost or you're having any trouble with anything in weeks 4, 5, and 6, please get on the horn right away. Come and talk to me. Physically come, but give me a call because if you're not understanding this material, you cannot, I repeat, cannot do well in the course. Okay? And that's because week 4 rather, we learn the basic vocabulary that we will be using throughout the rest of the course. So if you don't understand the meaning of the various accounting categories, assets, liabilities, net assets, revenues, and expenses, profits, loss, or the individual account names that of accounts that are within those big categories. If you don't understand that terminology, you're going to be lost. Okay, and there's a difference between understanding what the categories and the individual account lines mean and being able to actually know into which account line you would record a particular transaction, right? As a manager or an executive or a board member of a nonprofit, you have to understand the meaning of the categories and account names, but you hire accountants and bookkeepers and fiscal staff to know exactly where any transaction gets recorded. Okay, so if we go back to everything has a place and everything in its place, there's a place for everything and everything in its place. You need to know and understand what all the places are. Your accountant needs to know where everything goes in those places. Okay? Okay, and the other part of week 4, we talked about how all the individual accounts and categories get numbered and sequenced in a chart of account. And that assignment, I guess, is there because once when I became the COO of an organization, we had to buy all new software because we were merging organizations, accounting software that is, because we were merging different organizations under one managerial structure. So we bought all new accounting software, and so we had to create all new charts of accounts, and I had never done it before. So I thought and if I had known some of the tricks that hopefully you learned this week, I would have done an easier, better job. Okay, so that's just information, practical information for you. If you had most of you did fine on the chart of account of assignment. Just remember that the last grand total in any big category starts with the integer that represents that category. 1 for assets, 2 for liabilities, 3 for net assets, 4 for revenues, 5 for expenses. But then that's the first integer, but then all the rest are 9999999s, and how many integers you have in your account numbers. That's because you want the software program to capture everything from that first integer with all the other zeros, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, through everything 1, 99999. Okay, and it's the same for the other major categories. Okay. Okay. So the little diversion there. So this week, now that we know and understand the categories and the account lines, we're going to learn about how those categories and account lines are actually grouped and reported out in meaningful ways. And the way they get reported, combined and reported out are in 3 financial statements. And in the nonprofit world, we call them statement of financial position, the statement of activity, or sometimes statement of financial activity, and then statement of cash, sometimes statement of cash flow, right? And the point here is that, or something you should know, right, is that these 3 financial statements have lots of different names when you're in the for-profit world, and they also have lots of slang terms, right, or shorthand terms. So that statement of financial position, which which talks about wealth, comparing what you own to what you owe to see what your net worth is. It comes by different names. Sometimes statement of financial position. Sometimes it's called the balance sheet, because you're balancing assets, what you own, against your liabilities, what you owe, and which one is more, what's your net worth, right? Same thing with statement of activity. That's often called the statement of profit and loss, or the P&L. But again, the purpose is just to see whether you are profitable or not. Are your revenues greater than your expenses? Hopefully they are, so you have a surplus in nonprofit language, or a profit in for-profit language. Or if it's the other way around, right, if you have more expenses than you have revenues, then you have a loss in the for-profit world, and we call it a deficit or a need in the nonprofit world, right? We don't talk about profits in nonprofit world, but we all know if you don't have a profit, if you don't have money, you don't have any mission. Okay, and then the third financial statement is simply a report that talks about your liquidity. It tracks how you are using cash. How much cash did you have at the beginning of the period, and where did that cash come in and go out during the period, and how much cash do you have at the end of the period? So it's really about the liquidity and how you've used your cash during the period. It's that the report covers. Okay. All right. So I think that's pretty much it for this week. If you have any questions about any of this, please, yes, give a call. Right. What's the number? Right there. Okay. I'm emphasizing that again because, as I hope I've said before, maybe not, leaving messages in Blackboard is not the best way to get a hold of me. I noticed early in the I noticed in discussion forum 3 that some of you are not seeing some of the colored slides in the formal presentation of the week. So I only noticed that today. Sorry. And so someone from A&T's Tech is only being apprised of that today. So all just to say, I want to be responsive. I know I'm not always, but I always appreciate a phone call that tells me, hey, Jeff, I got a problem, and I know you don't check all the messages, all the emails, all the discussion forums all the time, timely, and I really need your help now. Okay? I certainly appreciate that, and you'll get better service that way. Okay? Okay, and I guess just the other thing, I did notice looking at this week's sort of study sheet that there are some outlier cells that have some erroneous information in them. There are only 2 or 3 of them. One's colored, one's not. Anyway, they're just errors. Forget about them. Okay? But what the study sheet essentially does is build on the vocabulary sheet you got this week, and then at the end, You have the category and the accounting name, the accounting line name. Then you have the definition. That's what you had last week, and now this week to those two columns is added some columns that talk about where those categories show up on the statement of financial position and the statement of activity, and I think on the study sheet it's called statement of financial activity. Okay, and then basically the purpose of each of those two statements, and that's basically this week's challenge. Just understand how the individual categories and account lines are organized and reported out in these three financial statements. Okay? All right. Good. 10 minutes. Hope things are well, and I'll see you online. Okay. Bye-bye.